How you doing? My name is Russ. I own a septic business and I purchased two Class 7 trucks for my septic business. My first truck I purchased was a 2024 Pete with a 6-point liter, 300 horsepower with 5.86 gears. My recent purchase, I purchased a 2025 Freightliner with an 8.9 liter engine, the L9 Cummins, with 538 gears. Both trucks we utilize for our septic business, but we'll talk about the trucks in general, how I feel, in my opinion, in my experience, how they work for me in my business. Diesel mileage. The 6.7 liter comes about 8.4 miles to the gallon. Not bad. The 8.9 liter comes to about 7.8 miles per gallon. Who doesn't want to save money on diesel costs, but you got a bigger engine with the Freightliner than you do with the 6.7 Cummins on the Pete. Power wise, well, it's a little bit obvious. If you got a bigger engine, it's going to pull better, stronger, with a little bit less effort. So when we fill up the septic truck, it's 8.6 pounds per gallon. And these trucks are both 2,500 gallon trucks. So both trucks are pulling a lot of weight with baffles inside, and with the 6.7 liter right here, Pete, you actually can feel it when we're full. It's not screaming, but it goes pretty good, but you can feel the weight. With the 8.9 liter, mosey along no problem. So on that aspect, the Freightliner really wins on that power battle. Oil changes. People can search high and low, you can speak to mechanics, but go to the manufacturer guidelines. And on the Cummins 6.7 liter guidelines, it's 20,000 miles interval for the oil change. On the 8.9 liter, it's 50,000 miles or 1,500 hours. So you're going to save some money on oil and maintenance costs on the Freightliner compared to the 6.7. It's not to say either of them's bad, again, but we're not changing the oil at 3,500 miles, 7,500 miles, or even 10,000. Those days are gone. Technology has increased to save us money. And again, I'm not trying to blow up anyone's truck. I'm just going off the manufacturer guidelines. On that aspect, Freightliner wins. Brakes. You know, we once we carry the weight with both these trucks, we need good brakes to stop us from going downhill or in emergencies or just regular braking. The brakes in the PACCAR feel stiff. When you go to press the brakes on the PACCAR, on the Pete, it is a stiff, you are pressing, you feel it in your knees. It does stop. The engine brake is on. It has one stage engine brake. It helps a little bit, but again, braking on the Pete is hard. When it comes to the Freightliner, the best explanation I can give you is I own a Cadillac. The brakes on the Freightliner, easy. It's like pushing a pillow. No problem, effortlessly, clean stops, easy peasy, no problem whatsoever. So the brake feel for me and my truck, Freightliner wins hands down. Not even close. Air suspension. Both trucks have air suspension throughout in the chassis, and that's another one I completely don't understand. When we hit normal bumps on the road, just like you will any other place, on the Pete, you actually feel it. I feel it in my back. I'm 50. I feel a lot of things I probably shouldn't feel, but again, I'm getting old. But when I'm riding in that seat, I want comfort, and for the money we're paying, we want great suspension. And again, on the Peterbilt, I'm a little bit disappointed on the suspension, the air suspension, compared to the Freightliner. I hit a pothole, I barely feel it whatsoever. The air suspension on the Freightliner, no comparison versus the air suspension on the Pete. Again, my experience, everyday routine, Freightliner, hands down. Turning radius. If you're a septic driver or any sort of driver with these trucks, you know getting in and out is hard at times. So turning radius is important to save time, get in and out, and not hit anything, be safe. The Peterbilt turning radius, I feel, is not very good. It takes many K points to get in, get out, back in the driveways, back down. And again, when we're carrying a full load or pulling out with a full load, that turning radius onto traffic, in traffic, off traffic, whatever traffic, it is important. Freightliner, the minute I pull out of my driveway, I can take a right-hand or right-hand turn and stay in my lane. If I take a right-hand turn with my peak, I go into the other lane. I'm getting onto the same road. No comparison on this one again. Freightliner, hands down. Easier, better turning radius. Engine brake. Engine brake, like I said, braking, very important. The engine brake is there to help you brake, so you're not putting that into that brake. You know you're going to brake easily. The Pete has a one-stage engine brake. Basically, you turn a switch, the engine brake is on. So if you're carrying five gallons or 2,500 gallons, it's the same engine brake. The Freightliner has a pretty neat dual-stage engine brake. One, you can click it to one, it stays on if you're carrying a light load or you're carrying nothing at all. If you're carrying a heavier load whatsoever and you feel comfortable with a more engine brake, you just flick the switch on the steering column. Now you have a heavier engine brake that will help you way better than the Pete in every which way. Engine brake, hands down, Freightliner wins. Now here's something that's very, very important for anyone who drives a truck, any of these Class 7 trucks or bigger. How many times you're going to get in and out of that truck? And here's what I mean. Each truck has steps, 2 steps to get up and down. And I don't know about you, but it feels like every day I get in and out of the truck 20 times. I wear a size 14 shoe for my 5'9" wannabe height. And the steps on the Pete are 2 steps, 9 inches and 8 inches, which is pretty decent. The steps on the Freightliner are 2 steps at 6 inches each. So every time I walk out of the Freightliner, actually my feet keel over, they go over almost like I'm gonna tip, so I have to hold on to stuff. That being said, the Peterbilt is more stable and better since the steps are wider. And that's a good thing because again, I don't know about you, but I'm getting in and out of that truck, it feels like 100 times a day, and I want to feel comfortable instead of slipping out of the truck, especially when it's raining or snow. Interior. Both trucks have different interior, but to me, it's sort of a push because they are both different. Both of them are actually nice. Both of them actually work well with putting containers in or put your keys in or a little bit of space here and there. And again, they're both modern. I don't think you're going to lose either one. So on that one, I think it's a tie. There's another safety concern, headlights. We need to see while we're driving. These trucks cost a lot of money. The Peterbilt has your regular headlights, not LED. The Freightliner has regular headlights, not LED. I know the Peterbilt for this past year came out in LED, but you know what? This is a 2024. It should have had LED. This Freightliner should have had LED. We are in the modern century. Both trucks, light-wise, they're not great. They're average. I mean, for the money we spent, both trucks could do a lot better. In the end, everyone needs more light to see better for every aspect of driving. So again, that one's a tie. Radio. This radio on the Pete, this radio on the Freightliner are the same exact radio. No difference. Needless to say, radio's not that great. I changed out the speakers in both of my trucks. Just went to Amazon, ordered some $30 speakers, and they sound better. That's probably the route to go. Or you can go with a whole head unit, different head unit, and have a way better system, especially if you spend a lot of time in the truck like I do. Here's a small thing, very simple, windshield wiper speeds. It's gonna sound trivial, but again, trivial things like steps and windshield wipers, headlights, these things add up when you're spending this kind of money on a vehicle. On the windshield wipers on the Peter, they go good, then you have that full speed. Typical normal like a car, works great. The Freightliner M2 106 Plus, not so fast on the fast speed. It almost looks like it needs another gear in the windshield wiper mode. On this one, the Peterbilt wins. Dealership service, in my neck of the woods, we have a Freightliner and a Peterbilt dealership in Albany. To me, both were terrible when it came to problems I had with both trucks that needed to be fixed. Again, both dealerships, to me, there's no win on that one. Customer loses, both of them could step it up a notch as far as that. Another option, I don't know if the Peterbilt offers, it may or may not, so there's going to be no winner here, but the Peterbilt does not have the option that I got on the Freightliner M2 106. I ordered the gear lock. The gear lock is on the Freightliner. There is no rear gear lock, axle lock on the, it's an axle lock. There is no axle lock on the rear for the Pete, but again, it may be an option, may not, I don't know. But if you're buying a truck for septic, get the rear axle differential lock. Great thing to have, especially if you have a different season climate like we live in here up in the Northeast. Last thing I'm going to talk about is, again, here we are in technology. Why doesn't each truck have a built-in heads-up unit for a GPS screen with a backup camera, including all-in-one? Why are every truck owner have to go out, buy a Garmin for the GPS or buy a different heads-up unit for a better radio? Everything should be integrated right in between. This is the 21st century. I know we can go to the aftermarket, but again, anyone who's paid for these trucks knows they cost a lot more money than your high-end Cadillac or your high-end Tesla or your high-end high country truck. These trucks cost more. So why don't we have the same or more than a high-end truck, pickup truck, or those vehicles I mentioned? In this case, we all lose, and the manufacturers have to do better. And my final analysis of who really wins and which truck is the most comfortable truck for me and my aspect of septic, really it's not even close. Freightliner is such a better truck in so many ways. The Pete seems to be a good truck, but this Pete costs way more money than this Freightliner when it's spec'd out in the same thing. And for my money, it's a hands down, Freightliner wins. And I believe this will help you in every aspect. This is my experience and my opinions only. This is Russ, USA One Septic. Good luck on your truck experience.